Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, beautiful day because it's a Norway day. How Norway's prisons are different from America's. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Staying in a maximum security prison is not a normal life, but that's also an ambition, to reduce the feeling of being in a prison as much as possible.
And in here you have my cell. So I have DVD and movies from there.
The basic question that we ask ourselves in Norway, what kind of neighbor do we really want? Because they could move into my neighborhood and they could move into your neighborhood. So I think there's one.
It's got a good point. What type of neighbor do you want? When they're released, what type of neighbor do you want? That does make a lot of sense. Because who wants someone that's like been locked up in a cage and been going crazy for the whole time to be released and then back into normal society? And yeah.
Important question to ask ourselves, really. That should have an influence on how we work inside prisons.
That's wild. The US has the largest incarcerated population with 655 out of every 100,000 people behind bars. That's insane. Like, how do they sustain having that many people locked up? 60 out of 100,000.
It's not for the prison to judge or to punish. We have to...
Why are you guys like that? That's so amazing. To hear an officer say it's not for us to judge or punish. What? Norway, I don't understand. I don't understand how amazing. Why are you guys that amazing and compassionate? To have that much compassion, even though that person is a criminal and has done bad things. It's almost like, yeah. Where does that come from? That you guys think like that?
Correct. And be human. I think it's as simple as that.
So fascinating. Okay.
The most important thing is how we treat people. This is the 4 key elements that I would like you to remember. The principle of normality, the focus that we have in Norway on humanity inside prisons, what we call dynamic security, and the emphasis that we put on reintegration into society.
I bet they were shocked. These groups of activists, researchers, and corrections officials. So I'm not too excited about seeing the activists or researchers. Yeah, whatever. But the corrections officials, is that like officers? Correction officials. It sounds like somebody who's like a part of the police force or part of the prison security. I'm excited to see them like witness compassion in a place of punishment. It's gonna be crazy to see how they interpret this.
I would say the main goal of the trip is for inspiration to go bold back in the United States.
Let's talk a little bit more about Halden then. How do we work and what are the unique things about us?
Okay. The world's most humane prison.
And in here you have my cell. So I have DVD and movies from there. Here we have a real toilet with a shower and everything. You know, You can see everybody have their key, so they can open.
Wait, hold up. Sorry, what? Huh? Wait. He said everyone has their key in a prison. He has a key in a prison. He has a key to his own cell. This has to be the most progressive prison I've ever seen.
Close to the doors whenever they want.
Even though it's nice here, it's still not a summer camp. But I would like you to, look beyond the facilities. It's not the most important thing.
Okay.
So this is the cell. Every cell is similar. And here we have the kitchen, where I used to prepare the food. You can see here is inside here.
That's a really important principle in Norway, which talks about that taking someone's liberty away and taking them away from their family, away from their community, that in of itself is the punishment. So life inside prisons should look as normal to life in the community as possible.
And in here, you have this washing room. You can wash the clothes and dry it.
Staying in a maximum security prison is not a normal life.
And I noticed you're just wearing normal clothes.
Yeah, that's allowed. You can wear whatever you want.
You should be able to wear what you want as well in prison. Why would you? I guess the whole point of prison is like, oh, you're stripping in America, it's like you're stripping everything away. Everyone's wearing orange. Everyone's wearing the same thing. You're an animal. You're in a cage. You don't get like basic liberties. And I think that is not right. It isn't right. And it makes people worse. Why would you want to make people worse in prison? It's supposed to like teach someone a lesson and make them better than they were when they went in. So Norway, maybe you got it right.
But that's also an ambition, to reduce the feeling of being in a prison as much as possible. That's the normality principle.
How you can normalize the correctional setting for individuals to transition out, bigger challenge in our system. But definitely something to think about. The commissary, the stores, where an individual actually gets to go to a real store and pick out commissary items. I think that's a good adds to the normalization.
He's like, yeah, man, like they treat them like humans. I think that is pretty good.
I think this is the most important part.
Americans.
Dynamic security sounds like a very fancy thing, but it's really just having a normal interpersonal relations between the officers, or all staff really, and the inmates.
So like a normal relationship with them is not very much us and them. It's like, we're doing this together. I like that. The role of the contact officer is one of the most important aspects of dynamic security. Dynamic security, I love that. So when I take the mick out of Americans, I can't really say anything because the British prison system, as I know, I've never been to prison by the way, but I'm aware that it is probably halfway between your system in America. It's not as oppressive and as cruel as America. However, it's still not great. The British system is very much you're locked in a cage.
Every inmate has a primary contact officer, and every officer had to have 2 or 3 inmates that he is the contact officer for. That was the ambition, from guard to also be a social worker.
So if it's training, my last 6 weeks or something.
The main subjects at the academy: ethics, psychology, communication technique, criminology, law, human rights. Of course, they do learn self-defense, they do learn extraction techniques, they do learn to work as a team, but that's not the major components. It's about how do you treat people respectfully.
My family always think that I just play games, because that's why I like very much to play games. So I often play cards and stuff with inmates.
I know in some...
I often play cards with the inmates. I mean, wow. But doesn't it make a prisoner feel like, what if you're a prisoner and you're from like a very low income family and your life in the real world's not good and you enjoy your time in prison? Maybe wouldn't someone want to come back to prison because they enjoy their time in prison? I don't know. I don't know if that's a phenomenon. I don't know what the rate of people going into prison and then leaving and coming back is in Norway, but I'm guessing it's low. So whatever you're doing is working. It's just such a foreign concept. Like a security guard playing cards with an inmate. It's awesome.
States it's forbidden and will have consequences for you if you interact with the inmates as a staff member. Quite the opposite here. We expect and demand an interaction between staff and inmates.
It's kind of friendship with someone, and to see the progress and see the changes, that's the best with the job.
The contact officer is, for example, sitting down with you and making you a future plan. So what for steps by steps to become a free man.
From day one?
Yeah.
So the officers need to know everything about the system and give advice to the inmates about the future, what steps should they take.
Recidivism. Is that what I was talking about, like when people reoffend and go back in? What does recidivism mean? Recidivism. I need to check. I need to find out what that means. Recidivism. To reoffend. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So you guys have one of the lowest in the world. That is incredible. That's incredible, because my concern was that someone would go in there and be like, oh, it's amazing here. It's like a daycare center. Like, it's amazing. It's like a hotel. Like, look at this. And then they reoffend. But now if I'm thinking about it, actually, no. The fact that the correction officers sit down and speak to the inmates, play cards with the inmates, make a plan for the future for them, what they're doing is instilling a sense of, I am worth something to society. I am worth changing my life. I am not, because I feel like a lot of prisoners in the UK, a lot of people that get into trouble in the UK and end up in prison really feel like they have nothing to lose because they have nothing to gain, because their life doesn't mean anything. So they just offend and reoffend and reoffend and reoffend because they see no way out. They see no plan. They see no future in society. And the only future they see is in criminality. So what you guys are doing is actually giving them an opportunity and support to plan their future within society. It's awesome. It's incredible. Hats off to you, Norway.
Photos of my daughter, big love of my life. I've been here for 1.5 years, but I was transferred from a prison in Brazil. You can compare that to come from hell to heaven. So it's a big difference. The guards, first of all. In Brazil, the guards are more you feel bad and weakness, the more they feel good. Here you have the guards, they was very kind to me when I came. They are still very kind. We can speak, they treat me as a human being. In Brazil, you get treated like an animal.
Wow. I've been working here since the opening in 2010. And I've been working other prisons before that also. It's not for the prison to judge or to punish, because the police catch the guy, goes to the court, and it gets a sentence perhaps, and then it comes to prison with that. We have to interact and be human. I think it's as simple as that. It really is, because we can create walls between us, but that doesn't help anything. We have to communicate, we have to interact.
Without approaching people with...
It's honestly, it's like so profound. It's just so... To have that much compassion for humans is incredible. Makes me want to move to Norway. It makes me want to move to Norway, honestly, because that is to recognize that they're human, whether they're flawed humans or not, they're humans, and humans make mistakes, and humans can atone and get back on track and be productive members of society. It's so important to realize that and not treat humans like they're animals. Humans are not animals, regardless of what you've done in your life. I think everyone deserves a chance to be on the right track. So
respect and dignity. It's impossible to sit down the next day and talk about his future because he will not have any trust in you. So in order to work well with reintegration and future planning, etc., there has to be a foundation there of trust between the staff and the inmates.
I've visited a lot of prisons in the United States as well, and somehow I don't have the same kind of feeling of relief of getting out of an impressive environment that I've experienced coming out of those prisons. Mm-hmm. I think that says something about how different the environment is here.
I think I have big opportunities here to prepare myself for the life after prison. I thought there is still hope. There is still opportunities, to get a good life.
Absolutely.
After getting out. So.
In fact, prison's a great time, especially you've got years inside prison. They've got time. Do you know they call it time when you go to prison? Like you're given time, and I think that's a perfect word to use because you are given time. When we're in the system and we're working, our time is used up like working and being productive, whereas they're given time out, like you give a kid time out, and they've got time to kind of think about their future. They have time to educate themselves. They can read books in prison. They can do courses in prison. You can do them in the UK prisons as well. Like you can literally study for a degree in prison. And I think that's, and you get all your food and everything paid for. It's actually pretty good. And being in prison in Norway is probably pretty good. What do you guys do with people that have a criminal record though in Norway? Is that looked down upon? Are there certain jobs in Norway you can't do if you have a criminal record? Because in the UK, I think there are jobs you can't do if you have a criminal record. Let me know in the comments section below.
Yeah.
That was amazing, guys. That was amazing. Like, I'm lost for words. I've seen other prisons as well. I think I saw the Finnish prisons they've got similars. Just all the Nordic countries. Like, I haven't really seen Sweden. But I think just in the Nordics, like you guys just have it on point. The compassion for people and the way you treat people is so admirable. Like that, I just love it. And don't ever stop, please. Do not copy America. Do not look to America because that's what we do in England. We look to America too much, and they're not a barometer for peace. They don't treat people very well. Not as well as you guys, especially prisoners, especially criminals. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.